If a stranger in a coffee shop asked you, "When has God shown up in your life?" you might find the question a little odd. But if you paused, chances are you'd have a story to tell. At St. Mark's, we believe God is at work everywhere, and everyone has a God encounter story. Inspired by StoryCorps, this Lent we're introducing GodCorps, an opportunity to record a short interview and share an experience of God at work in your life. We'd love to hear your story.
All right. My name is Joel Ruark. I'm here with Susan Ives. Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here and doing this with you. I've had a pleasure to get to know you a little better in the last year or so with our adult education class at 10:30.
Right.
So I was really happy when you talked about the fact that you wanted to do this and you needed someone to interview you. And I was like, I'll interview you.
I know, it's great.
So let's do that. Susan, tell us a story of a turning point in your life and how God was involved.
I would have to say this was a definite watershed in my life. I was raised knowing and loving Jesus since I was a very small child. I went to Houghton College, and I pretty much had a relationship with Jesus my whole life. I have had ups and downs and times when I wandered away, but when I married, my relationship became very challenged. And I ended up separated from my husband, ex-husband, in mid-90s anyway. During that time, I was really struggling spiritually. And found myself in a situation which was a very cultic mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very difficult, and that's a story for another time.
Yes.
But at the end of the 10 years that we were involved, I was living separately. We were living separately. And at one point, my ex came and said, I'm getting a divorce because you're never going to change. They were looking, his family was looking for a change in me that I just could not produce. And at that point, and I was really struggling spiritually because it was all on that level.
Mm-hmm.
The battle was spiritual. And I spent those years praying and asking God to show me what was wrong with me. And reading scripture. And when he came and said, we were living separately, but somewhere in my mind, I was hoping for reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, after he left, I said to God, I'm through. I said, I am not praying anymore. I am not reading any more scripture. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I remember standing in my bedroom and looking up at the ceiling and crying and saying this. it sounds almost blasphemous
Mm.
now. But I said, if you want me, you're going to have to come and get me.
Mm.
I meant it.
Yes.
So I stopped everything. And he did come and get me. Things in my life, just circumstances, just kept turning the pages.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that happened was I was introduced to a therapist who was a Christian. He was a minister that had left his pulpit ministry because he had such a gift for teaching, for counseling.
Yes.
And he was a perfect person for me because he had a relationship with the Lord.
Yes.
He knew all the lingo. He knew my background. He understood what was going on with my husband's family.
Yes.
And he basically, I had them set on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
It was one that I felt like I couldn't reach. And he helped me understand the dynamics of that.
Mm-hmm.
When I first interviewed with him, he gave me a questionnaire to fill out. And I gave it to him. And when I left that session, I thought, I think I can really trust this guy. I just had a very good feeling about him. And when I came back for the second session, I said, Dr. Lehman, I feel I feel like I can trust you. I said, I think maybe we can have this process be over with it in about 6 months. He smiled at me and he said, oh, keep in mind he had this questionnaire that I filled out. He smiled and he said, Susan, why don't you just take my hand and we'll go on this journey together.
Mm.
It'll take as long as it takes. And so I said yes, and we did. So that was the beginning. I can't explain. God knew exactly the person I needed to talk with and the person to counsel me. And a few years, and I joined his therapy group as well, which is a really good experience for me because I had such a negative experience with a group, and this was a really healthy group, and I really grew through that. And then shortly after that, a new colleague at work, who was a St. Marker, invited me to come to St. Mark's on Christmas. And I had heard about St. Mark's because I lived in the Wheaton area, and it was pretty well known in Wheaton. So that was the first time I came. And then my neighbors across the street had started coming here. And so we started coming together. And we were all in the kind of the same mindset. We were kind of looking for a church, but we didn't want to get too involved.
Mm-hmm.
So we went off and on for about a year. And at the end of the year, I was all in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that was in it was 2003, I think.
Got it.
So St. Mark's has been such a blessing in my life. But when I look back to that turning point, it was more me saying to God,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
but he wasn't. And he did come after me. And I would have to say, He was gently relentless.
I love that. Gently relentless.
I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but
Yeah.
I can't think of a better way to explain it. Just the things I told you were just the high points of just so many things that brought me back
Yes.
to where I
Yes.
in the process of my marriage. I pulled away from that
Yes.
church because they had,
Yes.
the family had, and I cut myself off from my parents and friends. So God brought me back and gave me a life again.
That's a beautiful story. So, yeah, I hear you saying that in the aftermath of your marriage ending, I hear you saying like you were done, right? Kind of done with God.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was done seeking Him.
yes. Yes.
I just can't tell you how many hours I was on my knees.
Yes.
Scripture, crying. Just,
Right. So you're kind of like, I'm done. Like I don't have any more effort to give.
exactly.
And so, yeah, it's like saying to God, if you want to have a relationship with me, I'm dependent. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And recognizing that God did that, right? Like first in providing you with a therapist that you needed, and then providing you with a church community that you needed here at St. Mark's.
And, people say just have to let go and let God. I really lived that. And
Yes.
it wasn't because I had that catchphrase.
Yes.
I mean, I was really done.
Yes.
I mean, I was done.
Yes. Yes. But God wasn't done.
No, He was not.
That's a wonderful story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Susan.
Thank you for listening to this episode of St. Mark's Episcopal Church, GodCore. If you would like to record one of these episodes and tell your story about how you've experienced God, please use the link in the notes to schedule your time. We look forward to hearing your story, and we hope that you continue to tune in to hear ours. Thank you, and God bless you.